This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Infinity Isle for Game 1 of this All Maps Challenge. On the left side as the Purple Soviets, this is Harlen. And on the right side as the Red Allies, give a cheer for the Airfield First Dutch Army. Now, if you're not familiar with the All Maps Challenge format, we'll go over that in just a moment, but as it sounds, it's where you play all of the maps in a series. So this will be 7 games, but not necessarily... Ooh, okay. No engineer kill. Engineer jumps inside of the oil derrick, and there is a flak cannon paused at 99% so that these flak troopers can get out. Absolutely perfectly done there by Harlen. He predicts a fast airfield. He sees no peacekeepers, no engineer, no nothing with his bear, and he's like, all right, time to go into defense mode and make sure that we can deal with this. And indeed, he's absolutely fine. Getting back to the All Maps Challenge, this is where you play the 7 standard ladder maps all in a row. So it doesn't matter what the score is. It could be 7-0, it could be 6-1, and it could also be 4-3, which is, of course, what we are hoping for, a tight back and forth series. DutchArmy and Harlen have both earned a spot as great players in my mind. Harlen, I've seen definitely a bit less from him. He is a Chinese player, and so he does normally play on the Chinese server. But in the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of cross-servering as guys from the Chinese server come over to the CNC Online server and play some matches with the folks that we are more familiar with, of course, with just the internet situation in China. They tend to run on all of their own servers for every game. They tend to have their own leagues, and while that does present some difficulties, it is always cool when we get to see them verse each other like this. So we get DutchArmy, who in 2022 is one of the best players. You know, he's in the top 5 for certain of 2022, against Harlen, who is, my understanding, a top 3 player over on the Chinese server. Maybe a top 5 player, but at least in that top echelon for the Chinese server. Going to expand backwards out to the water is DutchArmy. Goes for a power plant way out in the safety zone. So Harlen goes for the high ground, DutchArmy goes for the water. And it's going to be a super reactor after that. Lots of infantry, a couple of sickles, maybe a couple of terror drones as well. And these Vindicators are hunting for a target. DutchArmy may just need to use them for defense, splitting bombs between all of these targets. And Naval Yard? No, it's going to be a second airfield out on the water. So no Naval Yard, no Riptide just yet. I assume that is coming this way, but maybe, maybe not. The sickle goes for a bit of a preemptive jump. Flak troopers are here. That's a lot of cash in flak troopers. Keep in mind, it's 400 each. So this is, you know, close to $4 grand of flak troopers represented here from Harlen's early game. DutchArmy is out of cash. Losing that power plant is really tough. Bomb splits are good. He's going to be losing 1 Vindicator. Second Vindicator almost. Yeah, he loses 2, and he saves 2 as well. Engineer goes down. The sickle manages to jump, and DutchArmy is in a lot of trouble. Harvesters are offline. 1 refinery is getting taken down. It hasn't been sold off, but it might as well be, because there it goes. Flak troopers get the kill. Sickle is trying to hunt that harvester just so there is no additional way for that build radius to come back other than the MCV, and that harvester gets infected with a terror drone. Harlen is just so happy with how the start of this game has gone. DutchArmy bottoming out near $300 for a while. Harlen sitting pretty at over $2 grand. He's got enough to drop this refinery and still have some cash left over. No engineer ever managed to get inside of that oil derrick for DutchArmy. Just another thing that hasn't gone his way. DutchArmy getting smoked here on Infinity Isle. But of course, this is just one map of 7. So place your bets in the... Ooh, nice little cashback there for Harlen. Always nice when you can activate that as Soviets, just in enough time to secure a little bit of a win from a loss. But get your bets in the comments. I feel like it's going to be 4-3 in Dutch Army's favor, but that may also just be my bias because I am way more familiar with Dutch Army. I've seen way more games from him than I have from Harlen. I've only seen like maybe 10 games from Harlen. I'm trying to think. I think I actually did cast maybe a best of 7 or something from him. So maybe I've seen more than 10, but it feels like I've only seen 4 or 5 games from him overall. Naval Yard gets added on. Hammer Tank rolls into the base. Hammer Tank gets a couple of shots on that multi-gunner turret, and Bullfrogs find not 1, not 2. They find 2 Vindicators, almost get 3 on the turn, but it's not going to be. 4th refinery is up and running for Harlen. Again, under 1,000 credits for Dutch Army. Over 2 grand in the bank for Harlen. He can go tier 3. He could even go for like an airfield or a barracks to supplement that war factory. And by the way, since this income counter is a little bit new, I will let you guys know it is not an exact number. It is a rough estimate. So basically, OBS only reads the income number once every second. So you can get into these situations where the income appears to not change because someone's income and expenses are so evenly balanced. Twin Blades coming in here. Hammer Tanks dealing with these multi-gunner turrets. 1 Bullfrog does go down, but there's still 4 Bullfrogs out on the field. Very well done by Harlen to match every opportunity that Dutch Army could go for the comeback. Everything that Dutch Army might be thinking of has already pretty much been accounted for by Harlen. He has just been one step ahead this entire game. I guess his Bullfrogs aren't out here on the water jumping on the Vindicators as soon as they leave the airfield, but Dutch Army, you know, he is pretty much dead. Harlen bottoming out, but that's bottoming out on 4 income, 4 refineries worth of income, while Dutch Army, he's really only had 1 or 2 working harvesters for most of this game, working refineries, rather, that is. And it's going to be a fire sale. Dutch Army will take the first L of this series, goes 0-1, as we are going to be getting into our second map, and Harlen, total domination. That early income, or that early infantry advantage just snowballed into the rest of the match. And let's see how right or wrong I am with my prediction. And without much surprise, that sends us to Snowplow. Put your hand in the air if you were surprised by this choice. Of course, we're going to get to all of the maps, so I guess in some sense the order doesn't matter. But in the north, trying to redeem himself from that loss, this is Dutch Army. And in the south, as the Purple Soviets, feeling good, this is Harlen. Now, this is an all-maps challenge. As far as I know, there was no money on the line. There was nothing more than bragging rights and I guess a bit of fun or camaraderie between players in different regions. But we'll see how seriously these folks take it. I guess if Dutch Army switches to Soviets, we'll know that things have gone a little bit loopy. But for the current moment, things are... That was a pretty serious game, number 1. I feel like that was a pretty normal... If this was a regular best of 7, that wouldn't have seemed out of place as a match. It would have seemed maybe a bit risky from Dutch Army, certainly. But people play risky builds all the time in a best of 7, in kind of a longer series. Yeah, some people play risky builds in a best of 3 even, so... Now, if all games are weirdo risky builds, which this game already isn't, then we would start to be like, okay, you know, maybe this isn't a good meter on who's really the better player, but this seems to be pretty normal, pretty average kind of games coming out from Harlen and Dutch Army. At least this opener is very normal, maybe even a bit tame. Terror Drone comes on out, gets the dog. I don't think he'll be able to stop these Riptides, but he might get one of them. Riptide on the right grabs that oil derrick. Terror drone is already crossing the map, and Dutch Army, he might kind of have a sense about this. I mean, of course, he did lose the dog to the terror drone, so he does know that it is there. Ooh, second dog comes in. He confirms that location, and the engineer is already inside of the bullfrog, so that dog can do nothing. Dutch Army goes airfield, and he is going to be hoping that he can find a snipe. Second Riptide comes into the middle of the map. Terror drone gets struck, and now he feels a bit more comfortable. So Dutch Army will get the cash back, but Harlen, I think, will be able to take this oil derrick for longer. All right, Dutch Army is feeling much better. He doesn't have his second or his third refinery up just yet. Indeed, only his MCV is deploying, and Harlen is out of cash. We can see his refinery is completely paused here. He did not calculate that out quite right, or he made some emergency spending decisions. But at any rate, his refinery should be finishing up soon, and he should be able to get himself back on track. Dutch Army, on the other hand, he's going to be just about bottoming out as he drops his third refinery here at his third. Natural expansions have been taken for both players. For now, the bridges remain intact, which keep this map connected. And, well, a couple of bullfrogs are going to scare away a couple of Vindicators, it seems. Riptide skates away from that position. Harlen may have been a little bit too cash poor to be able to get the walls that he wanted, so you can see he started a wall segment and then he canceled it. Ooh, Reactor gets eliminated. It's not a big win, but if you can find the win, it's nice to take it. That bullfrog never got launched out to go for one of these oil derricks. It seems like Dutch Army is just going to be getting away with just a ton of cash. I love that. Oh, Harlen, he is played so hard to get here. Oh my gosh. He goes for the complete shutdown. All Dutch Army wanted to do was garrison that structure with one peacekeeper. And yet Harlen says, no, I will not allow it. That's such a funny little play there. It total like overreaction. Like, you can clear the peacekeeper from the building once the conscript is there. It's totally fine. But Harlen goes for the sickle jump. He goes for the roar on the bear. Just everything is like overkill with Harlen in that moment. All right, Vindicators are sharking around the map. They're looking for the kills. They might be able to kill these sickles. We'll see what the move is. Airfield finishes up once again. Ooh, Harlen gets a little bit of cash back there, and the Vindicators escape the bullfrogs. Both players are awake. They've got their coffee, and killing that airfield is like the perfect reset of that tech and that timing for Dutch Army. He's going to be super happy about being able to reset the timing of your opponent's airfield. Twin Blades can be very powerful, and resetting their count makes you feel so warm and fuzzy inside as an allied player. It's like, all right, Twin Blades aren't out yet. I have a couple of more minutes to potentially get out my Cryogeddon, or a couple of more minutes to get towards my Cryogeddon before the Twin Blades are out. Wow, okay, trades 3 Vindicators for 1 hammer tank and maybe a bullfrog, or maybe 2 hammer tanks, but either way, the Vindicators cost more than either, and trading 3 for 2 is not going to make Dutch Army very happy. Harlen is going to be able to leech down this, well, maybe not with the Peacekeepers here. Cryo shot in the perfect position. Oh, that was lovely by Dutch Army. It didn't work out. Harlen is smarter than that. He dodged it. I say he's smarter than that, as he almost loses a tank errantly to the random shots from that multi-gunner turret. Riptide does go down. Satellites get called in. Gonna claim 1 life, the life of that Riptide, or that multi-gunner turret, but not the life of the Prospector. Dutch Army is bottoming out, but that's okay. When you've got 3... what was that? When you've got 3 cryocopters out on the field, you're going to be fine with taking a bit of damage or taking a bit of a low eco play. It's like, I don't have any money to build anything. Doesn't even matter. You got 3 cryocopters out on the field. Go for the kill, go for the kill, go for the kill. There we go. And escape out over the water, utilizing that ridge, and that is the frustration of the Soviets right there. That little moment. Harvester goes down, and that is going to be 1,400 credits. Harlen's actually got a decent amount of cash in the bank, so maybe his macro slipped a little bit, or maybe he just crushed his MCV and got a big cash boost. Yeah, that's what it was. It looks like that MCV has disappeared from the map, and a suspicious crusher crane has taken its place. In which case, keeping hold of these buildings is very important because the build radius is much harder to come by when you don't have an MCV. Javelin Soldier will get nixed. Goodbye. Well, goodbye Terror Drone, I guess. Oh, no. Terror Drone will escape for now. Oh, that Terror Drone, he's coming in with the value proposition. He does eventually go down, but I'd take 2 Javelin Soldiers for a Terror Drone. That's certainly not the worst trade if you're Harlen. This game feeling much more comfortable in the Dutch Army position. Of course, he is by no means out of the woods yet, but it's feeling like he's got a rock-solid little gameplay loop set up here that he can just repeat, locking down the middle of the map, using cryocopters to abuse the edges when possible, and then just keep on pressing forward with the ranged units. Athena cannons are very good. Guardian tanks are here to absorb any potential damage coming in from the hammer tanks. Terror Drone kind of absorbing any shots. That Athena cannon wasn't able to fire because that Terror Drone just absorbed the laser. The targeting mechanism isn't fast enough to target a Terror Drone when it's moving, but we aren't even going to get to see the final battle because there it goes. Harlen just exits the game, and suddenly we have a 1-1 on our hands. Some players will say, well, it's Snowplow. It's a gimme for the Allies anyways. And in which case, sure, Harlen gets to save some face. But the score does remain, and let's see who takes the lead in game number 3, which takes us to Fire Island for our 3rd game, the first tiebreaker, hopefully the first tiebreaker of many. In the north, as the red, this is Dutch Army. He's happy to put one on the board, but now that Snowplow is off the table, let's see if the momentum continues, or if in the south, the Purple Soviets will return to supremacy. This is Harlen! Harlen, Zugspitze, Toolman. I forget Toolman. Is it Exploding Chicken? I think there's another one. There's 3 or 4 Chinese players that we have seen come into the scene for the last 2 years probably, and every one of those 3 or 4 puts up phenomenal games, but we just, they'll put up a phenomenal game or show up for a tournament and take, first or second place, and then we won't see them for 3-6 months. And so we keep seeing Dutch Army, Andre, Demon, Pika, even Bashley, especially recently. But the Chinese players we just don't see as much. Flak Cannon does get canceled. As soon as Harlen knows that he's safe, he's happy to cancel that Flak Cannon, get the cash back, and transition into the next part of his build. All right, he is liking the double reactor. We see Demon kind of mix things up, but every game so far has been the double reactor MCV move. I guess the first one was a little bit of a later War Factory, but for the current moment, this is a pretty typical game from Harlen. Get that double reactor, move your MCV over to a potential 3rd, and delay that super reactor. Whereas some players get the super reactor a bit faster. They prioritize that tech and those hammer techs. You might as well go for something. But for now, Dutch Army is going to wait and watch. He's going to hope that he can find something a bit more valuable than just a single reactor. You might take it. Great minds think alike, perhaps, but in this case, the engineer gets sniped. Dutch Army with the morality win. No, not morality win. That doesn't make any sense. With the morale win. Like, killing an engineer is so moral. But no, the morale win. To put your opponent on tilt a little bit. When you kill that engineer, It's just, it feels good, even if it doesn't win you the game. A couple of Vindicators going to be going down. Javelin Soldier gets the last shot on that Bullfrog. 2 Vindicators escape, and 3 Bullfrogs go down. Well, that is better for the Soviet player, but actually, no, that's completely even. Javelin Soldier, I guess, does put things into be a little bit better for the Soviet player, but I feel like the Vindicators and the center position with these double multi-gunner turrets is the better thing for Dutch Army. So my point was, even if it's a little bit better for the Soviet player, the position is better for the Allied player. Ore refinery gets established. 3rd ref is up. No super reactor, no Tesla coils, none of that mid to late game tech that we want to see. All right, reactor goes down. It's going to be slow. Harlen is out of cash, and that engineer is going to be saving Dutch Army for the current moment. He gets a little bit of cash back. He gets an additional engineer on the other side of the map, but he's spent all of his cash, and there we go. He finally gets that second engineer. So it is going to be the sell-off of the barracks plus the cash boost from that capture. Oh, Harlen is finally going to be able to finish up this super reactor, but he had to pause his war factory to be able to afford it. And for now, Dutch Army is happy to just live in the middle of the map. I imagine he will take this back expansion. Well, what should be his forward third is actually kind of a back pocket third in this case. It's like a pocket natural with how his MCV is positioned. I guess he just dropped the bombs on the Harvester. No, it doesn't matter because it's a double block. He's going to be getting both the walls and the reactor. Very well done by Harlen to deny 2 laser locks and pay a minimal price for it. And even going to be delaying any further attacks. He's trying to get this Harvester back to work, and even the Bear is going to be coming up here. 2 Peacekeepers going to be going down. Both of the Javelins will be eliminated as well, and that Harvester gets right back to work. Vindicators are going to be coming in. Dutch Army has taken that third, so he's going to be evening up the income. But what are these Vindicators even going to do? They're going to have to get on out of there as the Bullfrogs show up, and the Bullfrogs are going to be taking shots at those Vindicators. Dutch Army is just going to go for the Andrew move, the turret push. He knows how to win here, and he says it is not with units, it's with buildings. Javelin Soldier's going to get a couple of rockets before the blocks come in. Airfield gets sniped. No, it doesn't, as the Vindicators don't all drop their bombs, and they just soften up that airfield, but they don't stop the MiGs or the Twin Blades. Whatever's coming will have to be dealt with by Javelin Soldiers and by multi-gunner turrets. And it's going to be 1 conscript trying to stop 3 Javelin Soldiers, and he's going to be happy to delay these Javelin Soldiers with the barracks, but it's not enough. 1 more shot from the Javs will do it. No, 1 more. Oh, barely. He gets just enough repair juice inside of that airfield. No, Dutch Army. Oh, no. It's all falling apart. Satellites getting called in on the other side of the map, and it's a win for Harlen. What a tragic turn of events, like 3 or 4 things all in a row going against Dutch Army. One of them a misclick, one of them a forced error by Harlen, and then look at this, forgetting this Harvester, losing that Harvester to a terror drone, and it's just gone absolutely terribly for Dutch. He does, oh no, he doesn't even do anything. He doesn't get the refinery. It's on fire, it's burning down. But Dutch Army is paying heavily for this harassment, losing 2 Harvesters on the other side of the map. He's rebuilt 1, he's halfway through rebuilding the other. The double oil derrick plus this third is keeping Dutch Army in the game. He hasn't been able to afford tier 2. He's going to be losing the Peacekeeper and the Javelin Soldier due to that bear, and this is just feeling good for Harlen. He's taking damage. He's having to do some wonky stuff, build a bunch of walls, counter all of these multi-gunner turrets everywhere. But he is doing it with such better results than basically everything that Dutch Army is doing. Engineer on the front line, forcing the MCV back, and suddenly Dutch Army, he has to sell off his war factory, and now he's got to float. His production is extremely limited. He's got no barracks, no war factory. He's just trying to stabilize, and his income is climbing higher and higher, and he's going to be able to... Are you kidding? Just barely not able to do it, and now the IFBs are going to have to get away from this MCV because he goes for the crush. Oh, the plays and the counter plays, it doesn't matter. Harlen gets it. 4,500 in the bank for Dutch, and he just can't spend it. He's got a barracks out because he's floating so much cash that it just doesn't matter, but maybe the tide has turned, and Harlen didn't have a way to stop the double barracks at the front line. I cannot believe that Harlen, who, I mean, if you look at the income graph, Harlen was spending every single cent that he had. Every moment of the game, basically, he's drawing a zero on his bank account. So he's fending off Dutch Army from every angle, 1,000 different attacks, multi-gunner turrets, all of these different things. He's pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and he's flat broke at the end. And then, of course, Dutch Army has 5,000 in the bank because he got kind of tripped up earlier, and then he just drops a double barracks, and it's like, man, when you're zeroed out as a Soviet player, what are you going to do to stop a double barracks that's on your front door? And Harlen, maybe he could have fought it out. Maybe he could have turned it into some weirdo game. But if he didn't have another move, like taking down refineries on the other side of the map, it just was over for Harlen, and that will do it. Let's jump into game number 4. And that takes us to industrial strength for game number 4. In the north, playing the purple, this is Harlen. And in the south, as the red, this is Dutch Army. I feel like Harlen won the hearts and the minds of that last match. He fended off so much allied stuff and just batting away at Dutch Army. But Dutch Army was so well positioned to finish out the game. And it's like Dutch Army had just worn down the defenses of Harlen time and again and again and again and again until he could just double racks. And it's so funny that the double racks wasn't even his plan. He was forced into the double racks by the engineer and by the stuff that Harlen was doing, because Harlen took down the power plant, and then he had to sell off the war factory and pack up his MCV, and that created the float, which Dutch Army was then able to exploit. And it's like a little bit Harlen kind of created that situation. Dutch Army would have been able to produce a bunch of vehicles, but maybe Dutch Army would have gone for, like, I don't know, tier 2 or something, or maybe things would have turned out a little bit differently. But in this game, industrial strength, Harlen is looking to even it up. He actually lets the flak cannon finish okay. So, I mean, he sees the Vindicators. It's down in the south bombing his bear, but he still lets the flak cannon finish. And, well, he's spent a lot of cash on these flak troopers. He's going to keep his barracks around even though he's not producing from it. So he's got that safety measure, if nothing else. And it's going to be a fast third refinery for Harlen. He may sort of zero out his bank account doing this, but he's at least got that oil derrick. He's got those flak troopers. He's got a safety net to fall back to. Dutch Army, I think he's going for his third as well. Look at these guys. They're zeroing out their bank accounts as they're going for the exact same thing. And Harlen gets the flak as well. Vindicators. A lot of patrolling back and forth through these Vindicators. I think they just took out a couple of infantry around the map. And it's right into the super reactor for Harlen. Just barely enough income. Because he has no war factory, he's got enough cash to finish this up. But, oh, only barely, almost zeroes out there. But just barely able to hold it. Dutch Army taking some of these buildings. Some allied players like him, some don't. That must have been right on the edge of where that bear could have roared. Any further back, any more distance between those units, and it would not have worked. Bear goes for the scout. Oh, Dutch goes for the kill. He's like, hey, get out of here, bear. All right, so Dutch Army is very happy just to trade units for time. He's like, you know, these Vindicators, they could be bombing power plants, they could be doing something else, but you've got your main base all locked up tight. No. Ooh, okay. Harlen going pretty similar a couple of games in a row, but now it's a clear mix-up. It's a clear differentiation by Mr. H. Naval Yard for Dutch Army, but he hasn't gone Tier 2 just yet. He may need it before too long. It might be a second airfield, could be a war factory as the follow-up. Either way, Dutch Army is hoping that he can secure that oil derrick. Barracks goes down, but the first Twin Blade has been spotted. Dutch Army out of cash. And Harlen, he's going to do something. Is he really going 4 and 5? Seems a bit risky, but we'll see. No war factory, so keep that in mind for Harlen. All right, Engineer's going to grab the oil derrick for Dutch. Ooh, trying to snipe the Engineer right as it's getting out of the Riptide, but it's not meant to be. Vindicator's taking a bit of damage here, a bit of a problem for Dutch. Barely. He might be able to outrun this MiG. The IFV saving those Vindicators. And Harlen says, well, if you took my oil derrick, I'm going to kill your oil derrick. And that might be the best kind of trade that he could hope for. MiG goes down as it's trying to return to base, and Harlen is in a tough spot. It feels like the war factory-less version of this build is, I don't know that it's the right call. For now, Harlen is holding on, and if he's able to get up refineries 4 and 5 quickly, then this could actually work out really well. I guess the advantage is he's got enough cash in the bank that he can afford one refinery outright, and then the second refinery can be supported by his income from the other 4 refineries. All right, rebuilding the barracks back at home. Dutch, he's going to go for the expansion out onto the water as well. Still no Tier 2 from Dutch, but he's kept around the Naval Yard. He's got the War Factory and the barracks and the airfield all in range. So this Tier 2 is going to be a massive unlock. Although I don't know that we're going to see a lot of spies. It's going to be a massive unlock for Dutch Army. The Twin Blades, they found the one opening, the one opportunity. Harlen hasn't gone for the 4th refinery just yet, but he's going to get a bit of cash back on that harvest. Or get out of there, man. You don't know if there are IFVs closing in. Don't take the chance. No Apollos because it's 4 Vindicators. And it's going to be lots of walls. Toxins as well. Gets 1 jab, 2 jab, 3, and 4. That's a Christmas miracle. Twin Blades are going to be here to kill off these Riptides. And that was a perfect toxin drop on the other side. I mean, 1,600, 1,200. 1,200 bucks for that toxin drop. Makes you feel good. All right, Dutch Army, he has played this one out very well. It feels like he is chipping away at Harlen, but the chipping hasn't done as much damage in the last couple of minutes. Both players are getting really well set up for the late game. Cryoshot's going to be firing off. It's going to take the barracks down. Oop, stops whatever was getting produced there. Maybe a flak trooper or something. Vindicators coming in. They're going to be able to clean up 1 hammer tank, not the second. Oh, the bear does make it out of the icy cold barracks. Double refinery is up and running. So this is a fully powered 5 refineries for each player. 1 oil derrick for Dutch Army. Crusher crane getting added on. Twin Blades out to the water. And a little bit of leeching on the walls just to be able to repair up that tank. Still no... Ooh, grabs an Apollo, nice. Still no one has grabbed the garage in the middle of the map. These MiGs right on the edge of the IFV range. They keep getting tagged. Terror drone goes down, but a nice catch for Harlen. Always worth throwing a terror drone towards your opponent's refineries. Harlen hard zeroed out on the income. He's got 5 refineries, and he is spending the cash from every single one. Are any of them bugged? I guess not. He's just going Naval Yard. Maybe he just went Tier 3, or... nope, no Tier 3. I've smelled Dreadnoughts in the future. We'll see if that's correct. Nope, going to be able to pick up 1 IFV, but overall, the trades have been relatively minor, all things considered. Dolphins and a hydrofoil. You want to go for a Tesla coil, go for it. My hydrofoil will lock it down. Hammer tanks and conscripts. Couple of flaks on the front line as well. Once again, Harlen hoping to just chip away at Dutch Army. Akula, yep, Akula sub is here, and he's going to be trying to hunt down that hydrofoil so that the twin blades can come in. Cryo shot is going to be firing off, and look at that micro from Dutch Army. Just hit and run as quickly as you can. Meanwhile, on the south side, hammer tanks versus... this is going to be another toxin drop, because if so, this is going to be death for this whole army. But no, it is not meant to be. The toxins are a moment late, and that's going to completely break up the front line of Dutch. He had to evacuate that position, and Harlen gets massive damage on the Vindicators. That's 3 Vindies down, but could be 1 twin blade traded back across the ridge. These Dolphins just dodging every possible shot from Harlen. Finally, Harlen gets 1 Dolphin, and that does a nice job to reduce the effectiveness of these Dolphins. Love the jump from Dutch as he's trying to double up and splash both buildings, but with the twin blades here, it is just not meant to be. Harlen's going to be pressing down the front door. He's opened up the gates, and he says, "I'm coming in. You can't stop me now." Airfield goes down. No cryocopters will be seen in this game, as it looks like he's going to try and cross-map with IFVs. It's not the best play, but it might be the only one he's got to try and make work. Twin blades are in pretty short numbers. You killed a couple of my refineries. I killed one of yours, and hammer tanks with Guardian weapons always feel nice. Tier 3 has been researched. Oh, terror drones double infecting these IFVs. Getting all 3 IFVs in that adaptive armor is not so easy to break. Even a power plant going to be getting targeted down. Good night, power plant. That's the end of that. Dutch Army has a little bit of cash in the bank. Fortunately, he still has 4 refineries that are operational. He's spending every dollar of that, and Harlen gets himself back online, back up to 5 refineries. And this oil derrick never did go down. Mirage tanks, but no Athenas. A curious absence. I really would have thought 1 or 2 Athenas before the Mirage tanks, but he's gone 2 Mirages. He thinks the close range is the way to go. Both of these guys have such heavy... Okay, well, never mind. There we go. Boop. Both of these guys have such heavy vehicle-based armies, and yet it took so long for anyone to actually grab that garage in the middle of the map. That hammer tank went the wrong way around. Kulisub going to go for the kill. I mean, it'll repair back up, but no, he does get the kill, and look at that. Dutch Army is going to be able to trade 1 back, but never fun rebuilding a harvester. Flak troopers in those buildings. That's some value for Harlen. Dutch Army is going to immediately burn down that garage. Yeah, that's the smart move to make. Too bad. If Harlen had been able to save that garage, those piles of rock are suspicious. Oh, he might barely... No, he doesn't get it. All right, toxins coming in. It is force the evac, but that's not a very tactical toxin drop. And it's very curious. He's gone with just the single level. So, oh. What was that engineer doing? Where was that engineer going? He was just off crossing the map onto the wide open seas. In the last couple of minutes, Harlen has done a really good job of stabilizing and at the same time destabilizing Dutch Army. Harvesters have been cleaned up time and time again, and the ground army of both players is actually pretty impressive. They both have very powerful ground armies. Harlen more just through sheer numbers, flak troopers and hammer tanks. That's a lot of firepower. Dutch Army, maybe less so, but he's got a number of javelins, and the Athenas and the Mirages are absolutely terrifying. Twin blades coming in. IFVs pick 1 of them off, and Dutch Army says, let's go. It's time to end this one way or the other. Another harvester goes down, and Dutch Army immediately sells off the refinery as well. He's like, I'm not messing with that. I'm going to try and cut my losses as much as I can. He's already sold off the naval yard. V4s, well, one V4s. One V4 is here. Okay, that is a real conscript. For a second, I thought it might be a spy. V4's trying to land their shots, but Twin Blades are not going to get the kill. Aegis Shield is popped just in time to save the refinery as well. So these, the Athena cannons, they're going to try and get another shot before that refinery can heal up too much. Twin Blades are right there, right on the edge. Both of these players know what the play is. Harlen's almost out of cash, but so is Dutch, and Dutch is going to lose 2 Athena cannons. Only trades out 1 Twin Blade for it. That was perfect placement by Harlen. Oh no, Dutch Army has sold everything. He's not even trying to rebuild that. That's tough. That might be sort of the beginning of the end. Dutch Army still has an extremely powerful army, but he has to come through this choke point, and there are literally 2 Kirovs just positioned over top of this. Nice splits by Dutch. Ooh, but that's not a split. That one was not a split rocket. IFV's getting a couple of shots onto this Kirov. I love the V4s on the high ground for Harlen. He says this is not a 3-1 situation. This is a 2-2 situation, and I am not going to be giving this up. Harlen even gets the kill on the command hub. He is not going to be letting that go down, and I don't even know what killed that oh, okay. It was the Dreadnoughts. It took a while, but the Dreadnoughts did eventually show up, and now the noose has been tightened. Harlen doesn't have much cash, but boy, oh boy, does he have 5 refineries versus the 3 of Dutch. Maybe soon the 2 of Dutch. Oh, goodness, he doesn't even have 3. He's got 2, plus the oil derrick. I mean, the oil derrick is nice, but it's not 5 refineries nice. And I'm surprised with the length of time that Twin Blades have existed in this game. Oh, no, this is, well, it's not, it doesn't mean much. Airfield is close enough that he can get the repairs. Cryocopters will get a freeze out on the water. Nice bit of damage done by both players. Twin Blades get the flyby. Terror Drone doesn't go for the infect. MiGs are going to try and chase off these cryos. Look at that, the sacrificial cryocopter. Dutch Army knew that he wouldn't be able to escape with both if he didn't split them up. And he doesn't even fight it out. That's kind of disappointing. As a viewer, we are tremendously disappointed with that 2-2 because we didn't get to see the big fight. All of that posturing, big armies staring at each other, and Dutch Army was going to make that fight. And if he doesn't win that fight completely, which clearly he didn't think he could, he was just going to bleed out. Even if he trades army for army, he can't deal with the Dreadnoughts, and the rebuild is just way too strong from Harlen. And there we have it. Game number 4 goes to Harlen. Dutch Army taps out and sends us to Game 5, which sends us to Battlebase Beta to once again break the tie between these two. You know it. It's Harlen. And in the south, this is Dutch Army. And as Game 5, it's an all-maps challenge. We know what's going on. Big thanks to these players for playing this, but also for choosing the same colors every game. Red versus purple. It's easy to tell apart. Well, actually, I don't know. I haven't run red and purple through like a color blindness checker, so I have no idea if it's easy to tell apart for people who don't see color the same way as me. But, you know, they're consistent, which is nice. They're Soviets and Allies, so even if the colors are similar, you can at least, you know, always know that one guy's playing Allies, one guy's always playing Soviets. All right. War Factory first. Flak Cannon is paused. Look at that. Pauses right there. You've spent most of the cash, but you do have the option to cancel, and it's completely worked. Dutch Army is not going big and crazy with the aggression on those Vindicators. He's going to hunt down this bear eventually. Goodbye, bear. And there's going to be the cancel on the other side of the map. Yep. gets the cash back. Harlen is happy to make that trade. And we will progress into a pretty normal Battlebase beta game from here. No oil derrick for Dutch Army. One of the downsides of the airfield first kind of build is that your oil derrick capture is severely delayed. Bullfrogs are hunting. I don't know that they're gonna find much, but they're hunting. They went all the way into his base. They said hello. Naval yard down on the low ground. Dutch Army positions a command hub over in the water to potentially go for that refinery in the water as his fourth. Meanwhile, Harlen is building up on the high ground, and he's also going for the super reactor behind this. So super delay on the super reactor, and he's going to be keeping eyes on this oil derrick for as long as he can. Going to be keeping eyes on the high ground third of Dutch Army as well. All right, gets the Vindicator. Always feels good as the Soviet player. It looks like Dutch Army maybe just flew a little bit too close to those bullfrogs. Maybe he took one of them out, but I don't think he did. If he did, I don't know where it died. All right, airfield on the way. This feels good for Harlen. We'll see, because Dutch Army can play a style of allies that sort of chokes out the other player. It's pretty slow and methodical and focused on being very efficient. But this is a good setup so far for Harlen. He's sort of got everything that he wants. Oh, he actually cancels the airfield, so never mind. He doesn't have everything that he wants. He doesn't have an airfield. Another Vindicator goes down. Harlen is gonna take those trades all day if he can. Buildings in the middle getting taken down by these multi-gunner turrets. Naval yard getting established. So Harlen gets the infect on the prospector out on the water, and that guy is way too far away. He's going to be close, but I think he's going to go down anyways. Oh, he might make it. Oh, barely not. I guess you have to start your trip over to that naval yard before you actually get infected. Oh, what was that? That was a cancel or something. He sells off that command. Wow. So I'm guessing Dutch Army just left the game. Okay, well, that was that. Let's jump into the next one. And that sends us to Cabana Republic, game number 6. And can the boy on the left even things up? This is Dutch Army. And on the right side, he is feeling good after a shaky game on Snowplow, but he has been powering through these games. This is Harlen. Great first game, and that second game, he just dominated as well. Dutch Army losing the middle of the map to those hammer tanks was a bit of a problem. He did not have an answer for it, and he was basically out of cash and suffering poorly. Or suffering greatly, perhaps. Dodging in and out. Ooh, bit of a mistake. Oh, well. You win some, you lose some. Harlen gets the win in the south. Meanwhile, Dutch Army, is he going to go for anything crazy and wonky? It doesn't seem so. There are some airfield all-ins that you can go for on this map. And based on how Harlen opened, they maybe would have worked. Harlen didn't open super defensively, but of course he did open with scouts. So, you know, he very likely would have seen what was coming his way, and he would have made some different choices because of that. Dutch Army sells off the naval yard. He walls in his airfield, and he says, I'm not going to get infantry to stop this push. If Harlen wants to spend a bunch of cash on infantry, I am not going to spend my cash on infantry. I'm going to get on out of here and hope to set up a third refinery on the water in the middle of the map. Looks like engineer will be coming out for the capture. There are engineers in a riptide somewhere. Yep, on the other side of the ridge. So Dutch Army and Harlen both wanting to protect their engineers, and they will both grab one of the oil derricks. 2 bullfrogs and a terror drone circling around the map, or circling around the middle of the map, rather. Dutch Army is going to get both. I'm secretly hoping that he wins this game purely to keep my hopes of a correct prediction alive. But honestly, Harlen has been playing really well today. So if it's 4-3 in the other direction, I definitely would not be sad. If it was 5-2 in the other direction, I'd be a little bit sad. That'd feel like an underperformance from Dutch. But Harlen is a good and strong player, so it wouldn't be that crazy of a result, especially with a couple of these games that have been very short and not shown much from either player. Refinery gets deployed. Dutch Army matches the third refinery of his opponent. Harlen starts his perhaps a bit sooner, but Dutch Army ultimately gets it all out. Oh, Harlen with the perfect capture! This guy is always so good about sneaking those terror drones in. My gosh, Harlen. Every time there's a refinery, Harlen... Oh, no. Oh, no. This is actually terrible. Harlen's bottoming out once again. He's scraping the bottom, but, like, he shouldn't be. He should have 50%, not 50%, but, you know, 50% more income of the 2 refineries he's got. He should have that third harvester back online, but unfortunately, it's just, oh, no. Dutch Army takes away the oil derrick, which good on Dutch Army, but now this is just not even Harlen's fault. It's really frustrating that part of your game plan has to be double check that all of my refineries are harvesting the way that they should be. Oh, man. Harlen's like, man, I don't have a lot of cash. Why can't I, well, I guess he cancels the airfield and gets the crusher crane. So he's spending money, but he's bottoming out, and okay, he finally gets that. No, are you kidding me? Okay, he's just going to sell the walls. So there are some glitches. Sometimes selling the walls fixes it. Oh my gosh, sometimes it doesn't. And he's hoping by selling the walls. Sometimes it's just like you have to rebuild the refinery. Wow, okay, crushes the sickles. Vindicator's going to be able to get away scot-free. They kill a hammer tank, and okay. All right, it's not the worst. Oh my gosh. And you can see Harlen desperately trying to do something, anything to fix this. So it looks like it's kind of fixed, but the result is he just can't have any walls around this refinery because this harvester is glitched. No, it's not fixed at all. It's completely busted. That really sucks. So Harlen is not half a refinery down, but the extra time, this is supposed to be a shorter run. And, well, unfortunately for Harlen, he just has that working against him this game. I mean, obviously, Dutch Army is still a good opponent, but when you are artificially hamstrung and, like, getting both of the oil derricks, that's just, like, that was just a good move by Dutch. Kind of hopefully Dutch Army kills this harvester or this refinery. Barracks does go down. Twinblade is going to be targeting down this Riptide, but barely. He doesn't have the DPS to kill it before the jabs pop out, and these jabs can now attack this refinery. Why are there no walls around your refinery, Dutch Army asks, and it's because Harlen had to sacrifice them to try and fix his harvester. Bullfrog on the ramp takes the damage. bear is here, and the conscripts are going to be the choice to try and clean up those jabs. Harlen packs up his MCV, and he heads for different ground. Eventually, these jabs will go down, but it's going to take a little while before Harlen can actually clean up this position. All the while, Dutch Army's harvesters are working properly, and Harlen has this one janky harvester that's just 10% less efficient, 20% less efficient. I don't know what the actual timing is there, how many extra seconds it's adding, but cleaning up the oil derricks is nice. That'll bring the income closer together. Ooh, sells off that crane, and, well, all 4 Vindicators escape. 5 Bullfrogs out on the field, but they were slightly out of position. And because Harlen was not expecting those Vindicators, he did not have them there, and he loses the crane, and Dutch gets out scot-free. Dutch identifies that weakness and is able to exploit it very nicely. All right, Twin Blades are going to clean up 1 oil derrick. I don't know if they'll have time to get the second one, and Harlen gets a little bit of cash back on it as well. So, you know, every bit you can hope for, but this is kind of sad. What are you going to do against an aircraft carrier? The answer is nothing. Harlen's zeroing out, and he's got that refinery finishing. GG. Wow. So, I mean, to some degree, nothing against Dutch Army. He played that out exactly right. Dutch Army kind of did everything right there. And Harlen, nobody, you know, you can't say. But this income graph should be equal. And Harlen maybe still would have gotten blindsided by that aircraft carrier. But, you know, it's hard to say. So, maybe less of the game was actually determined by that harvester than I think it was. But the 2 oil derricks make up part of that line, but not all of it. So that'll do it for this game. We have one final match. It'll be a 4-3 either way, but it will be a 4-3. Which sends us to Temple Prime, seemingly always Game 7, whether it's an all-maps challenge or not. On the left side, he maybe got screwed by the bugs in that last game. This is the purple Harlen. And on the right side, even if the bugs helped him win, he still played great. This is Dutch Army. I will throw links in the description for Dutch Army's Twitch or YouTube channel, wherever he streams. He's got some FPV, FPV VODs up. I was making sure that I wasn't ATM machining, or pin numbering, but he's got some FPV VODs up, and if you want to check them out, you can. I don't know if Harlen also has a channel. Maybe Harlen has a Bilibili. I don't think I will link that, but if someone does have Harlen's Bilibili, then post it, and I will then link it, but I don't know how to find Harlen on Bilibili, so. We're in game number 7. Overall, it has been very good performances from both players. Obviously, that bugged harvester, even if it didn't take a lot of... Even if, let's say, the timing actually worked out and it was actually the same, or the timing was only 1 or 2 seconds off, I mean, that's still 10 or 20% less efficient. But let's say it's 1 or 2 seconds off. It took so much time and attention from Harlen of trying to deal with that. There was like 3 rounds of building and selling walls. Well, selling walls, and then also building walls and like messing with the harvester. So it took 5 or 6 passes of like dedicated focus of Harlen trying to deal with that bugged harvester. And, you know, who knows how that game would have turned out differently if he wasn't paying attention there. Here, he just loses the terror drone. That's nothing on the bugs. That is, well, let's check. Okay, yeah, it appears to be nothing on the bugs. That is just a... That was goofball central. That Peacekeeper just glitching out, floating in the air. And Sickles are going to jump away. Bullfrog takes the damage. Second Bullfrog comes in. That's a kill on the Vindicator. And Dutch Army is feeling good about some things and not good about others. He's got both of those oil derricks, but he loses the Vindicator, so he's not going to be happy about that. And in this particular case, it looks like both players might be kind of pointed towards the middle of the map. I lie. Dutch Army is going towards the southeast corner. And Harlen is pointed towards the middle of the map. Oh, Harlen's actually going high ground. He doesn't get a third refinery. Dutch Army drops the third refinery in the corner of the map. He's got the 2 oil derricks. He is set up for the later game, the longer play. But 2 Riptides get crushed. Harlen gets a win in the middle, keeps the Terror Drone alive for now at least. And he's going to take back the middle of the map. Single conscript in the north, just Molotoving down that 1 Vindicator. 2 Vindicators done. Dutch Army is feeling bad. He's got almost nothing on the map. If Harlen pressed really hard across to the other side of the map, he might be able to end the game right here, right now, but he doesn't. He gets the Vindicator kills. He backs off. He's going for his third refinery. He's going to be happy with the high ground refinery, and Dutch Army just, okay. I don't know what Dutch Army is going to do. Yeah, he brings back his MCV. I guess you try and... I don't know what he's going to do. He's got the oil derrick. He's got the refinery. So, but that was, I think, a misread, maybe, by Dutch Army. He's going to get the Terror Drone eventually. There we go. Eventually, he will get these harvesters back to work, but for now, he's got 1 refinery working and no oil derricks. Yikes. So, from here, I guess Dutch Army figures out some way to come back in this game, but this is a bad start. Harlen sort of has everything going for him, and Dutch Army is playing from behind from this point forward. He's got the multi-gunner turrets. He's got the airfield. If he had tier 2, they would be kind of a different story, but he's got premature jump. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter. He didn't kill the second prospector. That is the one thing that Dutch Army... Oh, did he? How did you know? How did he spot that? That is a crazy read. That's crazy. I don't know how he knew that. It's very likely he had a dog that got killed that I just didn't see, but he pulls that harvester perfectly. Has the Vindicator down in the south, and, well, he's going to try and take back the oil derrick as well. And he maybe knows about that second Terror Drone as well, but no, the Terror Drone comes back. The engineer is going to safely get to that oil derrick, so... All right, Dutch Army is going to try for the comeback. He is going to try and press on forward. If he goes tier 2, I feel like he's got a much better shot. Harlen's bottoming out, but he's bottoming out at least on 3 working refineries. Meanwhile, Dutch Army has barely got 3 working refineries. Well, let's see. Oh, he pulls again. He sees this. He's seen this Terror Drone somewhere. I don't know if it ran past the oil derrick or what. And he realizes, oh, okay, actually, I have time to kill this Terror Drone. Nicely done. All right, Dutch Army gets the kill. Can he stop the hammer tanks in the middle of the map? Because he's got Vindicators, but he doesn't have a ground army. There are enough Vindicators to take down a couple of these Bullfrogs or a couple of these Hammer Tanks, but there's 3 Hammer Tanks, 3 Bullfrogs. Leading Vindicator takes the damage, but he peels it off just in time. Satellites drop on the power plant, but it's not enough to send him into low power mode. Trades out 1 Bullfrog, takes no damage, and that's the kind of efficiency game that Dutch Army is going to have to run from this point forward. Harlen, behind the scenes, does have the oil derrick, and he keeps those tanks locked in position. He's going to trade out with their guns and hope that the Bullfrogs can keep him safe, and that is a win for Harlen. Dutch Army is really struggling to deal with this pressure, and that's because of how this game has gone from this point. Nice body block with the boot camp. Cuts off the attack paths, but only for a moment. It's a reposition from Harlen, and he is just carving through everything that Dutch has. Where are these Vindicators even going? He's trying to get an angle that the Bullfrogs aren't finding, but the Bullfrogs are just kind of everywhere. And Dutch Army is dead in the water. I don't know how he's going to pull something out of this. The double barracks. I love this, actually. The double barracks with the first barracks absorbing all of the damage while you get out javelin soldiers, peacekeepers, anything that you can from the second one. That bear goes heroic. The dog gets locked down. It's 3 bears from Harlen. 1 hammer tank goes down, but there's the sell-off of the barracks, and there is not much that stands between these hammer tanks and the airfield. Bullfrogs are behind. Only 4 Bullfrogs, one of them very low on health, and if Dutch Army can get a couple of shots off. Oh, forces to deploy. That Twin Blade is ready for the kill. He's like, you can't kill me with a Vindicator. You're going to have to do something else. GG gets called. Harlen takes it 4-3. I was wrong. Harlen absolutely dominating in game number 7, and we don't know how Cabana Republic would have gone differently, but that was just a perfect execution by Harlen. Dutch Army, I think, misread the situation and just went maybe too greedy. I feel like, kind of like game 1, he should have played a bit more defensively, but at the end of the day, Harlen is a good player, so if you play defensively, maybe Harlen does something else, and that will do it. Dutch Army takes the L, but only just barely, and Harlen cements his place as a fantastic player. 7 games, 7 maps, done and dusted. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.